a lot of those women have subclinical hypothyroidism,
Yep.
low cortisol, not necessarily like, Addisonian, but they're low. And they want to know what to do because they feel miserable.
Hey guys, so today we are here with Dr. Shawn Tassone here in Austin, Texas. He is an amazing doctor when it comes to hormones, and hormones is a question that we get asked all the time. So wanted to come in, shoot some in-office stuff, show you how to do a hair analysis here in a bit with some of his amazing staff, and get into a little bit about hormones and minerals. Because so many of you have asked for this. And so we'll jump right into it. So Dr. Shawn, thanks for being
Thanks for
with
coming
us
out
today. Yeah.
So I was telling you earlier, do a lot of hormone testing for women. That's basically my practice. But what I've been finding is I can get women feeling better, 90%, 85%, but there's always kind of that extra piece. I've always felt like something's been missing. And you can go into gut testing and all that stuff, but it gets super expensive. We don't know the reliability of some of those tests. And so I've known you for a little while. We have mutual friends, and we were walking around the lake one day, and I started picking your brain about, and it was just like the angels, I just kind of was like, this is it. This is what I want to offer my patients. And I put a little note out to some of the women on Facebook, and I got like 100 responses in about a day. It sounds like this is something that we really want to check, and so I just think it's a great thing. And I don't offer stuff to my patients unless I tried it, unless I know how it works. And so the girls that work here are going to be the guinea pigs, and myself too. I'm going to send in a hair analysis. Barton's company is going to give us they're going to counsel us afterwards, which I think is awesome that you guys do as part of that counseling service. So you get, it's like a 40-minute counseling session on your results. And then we're going to come back afterwards, and I'm going to, we're going to say what was missing and what kind of supplements. And that's the other thing, is gauging the supplements, because I have a lot of patients ask me about that too.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So I think that's a big part of it, right? So, hormones and replacement, this can really, really support that. So if you're watching that, and maybe your thyroid hormone is like one of your go-to medications that you're taking, while taking that, you can be supporting your body's ability to make those hormones naturally by giving the thyroid and also the adrenals, which support the thyroid, what they need, right? So that is really key. So the thyroid in particular, it needs iodine, it needs selenium, it needs copper, it needs zinc, manganese helps, magnesium helps. So all of these things help, but then if the adrenals are really low, well, the thyroid isn't going to be able to do as much as it could, right? So we're going to really come in and support that from a foundational level from a mineral standpoint, so that all of these things that you're doing, it's just synergy, right? So it's the sum of the parts are greater it's just greater than sum of the parts, right? So that's really what we're focused on, and I'm really excited to see the transformation that happens with all these ladies that are doing this. And this is key for guys too, for men too. If you're watching this is obviously key for all the women in your life. Balanced hormones means balanced mood, or a greater propensity for balanced mood. And minerals play a huge role in that. Zinc to copper, for example, right? So if you're too high in copper, well, that goes up and down with estrogen. If you're too high in zinc, you're going to be overly analytical. If you're too high in copper, you'll be very creative, but sort of ungrounded. You'll set yourself up for a bacterial infection if you have, just your copper imbalanced. So, and zinc, as we know, if you're low in zinc, you're going to have a higher propensity for getting a viral infection. And we've known this kind of stuff for years. It's just not widely distributed, this knowledge, for some reason. So we're doing our part today to make sure that anyone that needs these solutions can have them. So, patients can come to you. You do telehealth, so I imagine really anywhere. So
yeah, this type of testing, I mean, it doesn't require, like testosterone is a controlled substance, so I need to physically see somebody. But to do hair analysis, and to be perfectly honest, one of the big populations I think that in my practice can benefit are women that have been on birth control pills, because we know birth control pills deplete a lot of your minerals. So, I mean, if I'd have known, I have a 27-year-old. She's been on birth control for most of her life. I'm definitely going to have her do this because she has migraines sometimes, and sleep problems, and I tell people all the time, magnesium. Well, how do I know it's working? You know, and so the great thing is this testing is really affordable as well compared to a lot of other tests. It's half the price of most of the other testing that's out there. And so I think it's just a great segue. I can't wait to get started.
That's beautiful. Yeah, so magnesium, a lot of people, if you followed me for a while, my story with magnesium. And that was one of the key nutrients that I was not absorbing. And I had been taking that for over a year and a half. I was taking large doses from good brands. And I was still chronically deficient in it. So I looked at my hair analysis and went, how am I chronically deficient in this when I've been taking it? And I started to really learn, well, what is it? What are the symptoms of that? And I had like 7 out of 10 of the symptoms. So I was like, here's a connection. And, that was me as a otherwise healthy, like middle of my 20s sort of person, 10 years ago. So looking at that now, thinking like, wow, how many people need this solution? Because I was already eating a good diet. I hadn't destroyed myself with all the things that life can put on us at that point. But I pushed myself hard as an athlete, as a wrestler, and but you can push yourself hard as a mother. You can push yourself hard working a job. You can have several kids, and you're just giving nutrients away every time you give birth. And that is a miracle that we call life, really, right? But make no mistake, that is incredibly energy intensive. So as
typical patient, 35, has 3 boys under the age of 6. Yeah. She's traveling a lot because she's a pharmaceutical rep. She's burning the candle, not just at both ends, but with a blowtorch. And she comes in and she's fatigued. A lot of those women have subclinical hypothyroidism, low cortisol. Not necessarily like, Addisonian, but they're low. And they want to know what to do because they feel miserable. Yeah. And like I said, I was helping with the hormones, but I just wasn't feeling like I was doing everything, what is something else? And I'm just, like I said, I'll say it again, I'm really excited for myself too, because like you said, for guys, I'm 53. I'm sure I'm deficient in something, although I could be excellent. I'm not quite sure.
Perfect in every way. Yeah. Come on, folks.
But I'm low normal testosterone. Just I think age and the diet and the environment what we live in. So we can maximize. And how many men are on testosterone injections, but they're not looking at this other stuff. Right. So it's super important.
Absolutely. We're talking about minerals, but we're also talking about heavy metals too. So we test for those, and it could be mercury that's getting in the way of your zinc and the activation that the zinc has in the body for testosterone. So zinc activates over 30 different enzymes that we know of. I'm sure there's more.
An interesting thing that I've been doing now for 5 years is also removing, and I briefly talked to you about this, the E-shirt coils that have been put in women's fallopian tubes for 15 years. It's off the market now, but it's got zinc, titanium, stainless steel, polyethyl terephthalate fibers. And I've had so many women that have those. I've removed them, 900 sets of them. But women are asking me, and I've checked serum levels on a couple hundred of those women, and they've never been elevated. Wow. But I have women that have zinc allergies that have these zinc implants in their, or not zinc implants, I'm drawing a blank on what did I say it was in it?
Yeah, the
polyethyl terephthalate fibers, nickel allergies. And they know they have a nickel allergy, but the nickel isn't elevated, but they have body rashes. So
Interesting.
it would be really neat to see what the hair says on a lot of these women. So that'll be great too. And I would challenge any of the women out there that maybe I've removed your Essure coils on that might still be having issues. Give me a call and we can test your hair too now.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And just in general, understand that toxins are least likely to show up in your blood because your blood is your life force. It's carrying nutrients throughout your body and nourishing your organs. So your blood really wants to stay as clean and as balanced as possible. So for that reason, if your pH goes up and down, your body's going to pull calcium and magnesium from your bones, and then you end up with osteopenia and osteoporosis later in life if you don't do something about it now, where you're reversing that by putting in these nutrients, testing for them first, hopefully, and then putting them in. So there's a lot of reasons why the blood won't show the heavy metals very easily because, the body is shuttling those into the tissues because why? Well, it's safer, it's easier to deal with that, right? So it puts it away for a time later when, especially if you're in an exhaustion stage, like a lot of the women you're seeing, they come to you and they're exhausted. And if you're seeing male patients too, it'd be the same story. Mm-hmm. It would be very similar. There's a lot of people that we work with, male and female, that are just burnt out, they're exhausted. Fatigue's a big thing that people are dealing with because we have this expectation of acting almost like computers, where we're just on all the time. We're not resting. We're not we're not living life the way they live in Spain, where you get up and you walk for 30 minutes.
We have dinner at 10 p.m.
Yeah,
Could you take a siesta?
Take a siesta. Yeah. The dinner at 10 p.m., it's a lifestyle thing. It's not great for digestion.
I have a lot of women that take a siesta, but not because they want to.
Exactly.
Because they feel like they need to.
That's a huge thing, actually. We haven't talked about this before, but there's been a couple just glowing testimonials from people that have had to nap several times a day to get through the day. And we're talking otherwise savage go-getters. Mm-hmm. But they'll have to they're on a long drive, they'll have to pull over and take a nap, things like that. And they start, especially upgraded magnesium, puts the electricity back in the body, activates all these enzymatic pathways, gets you producing energy at a cellular level, gets you detoxing at a cellular level. And then, just overnight, they're like, wow, that's the best sleep. I can't wait to go to sleep again tonight because I feel so good. And if you are one of those people or someone that is so burnt out that they're laughing about, coffee is their favorite thing. Mm-hmm. It's you should maybe enjoy it because it's pleasurable, but you shouldn't be so dependent on it that if it disappeared, you would just cringe and worry about life and feel like you couldn't go on. You're just balled up oh my God, how do I approach life? How do I approach work? How do I keep my job? My mind's not working. All of these have a root symptom in mineral deficiency and mineral imbalance. So you can have too much of something. It's very common, right? We've talked about this off camera, that people have too much calcium or they'll have too much iron actually. And it'll represent, you can have too much iron and it can look like you have an iron deficiency. But you actually have a copper deficiency because that excess of iron, not only is it aging you, but it's pushing out the copper. So, from a chemical basis, that's something that people watch out. And then often, we talked about this, women, men and women will get on iron supplementation when they need copper. And what happens? They get constipated, their hormones get even more just off kilter as well. So it's a delicate balance, but having a test that's measuring all of these at once in relationship to each other that's the way to do it.
I think the great thing too is that you guys have a system where you kind of get this Bartonian explanation when you have your test done, because you can work with the people at his office and spend 40 minutes on the phone with them talking about all these results. So you're not talking to me about the results, but I'll help afterwards. you're getting somebody that this is what they do. This is everything they do. So they are really an expert in this area. So that's another fabulous piece.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, thank you guys for listening today. I hope this was helpful.
One more question.
Yeah.
Does it work on gray hair?
It does.
Okay.
It absolutely does. And
got plenty of that. So.
This question has come up a lot too. Like, how do we go gray slowly and age gracefully? And that can be zinc to copper balance as well.
Is it too late for me though?
I mean, you look so good with the salt and pepper look.
This is why I like.
I mean, all the
guy.
Ladies. The call list is long. Let's be honest.
So let's collect some hair.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right.